Hey guys, so like I said in the blog post, we're going to be using iCell this week to explore the similarities and differences between different types of cells. Now you heard me say prokaryotic versus eukaryotic cell, and you guys heard me say animal versus plant cell or versus bacterial cell. I wanted to state something before I moved on. Remember that a prokaryotic cell is something without a nucleus. That would include a bacterial cell. Eukaryotic cells are things that have nuclei. That would be an animal or a plant cell. So when I say compare and contrast prokaryotic versus eukaryotic organisms, I could mean animal versus bacterial or plant versus bacterial. When I say compare and contrast different types of eukaryotic cells, I'm saying compare animals versus plants. Now let's go ahead and jump into this. So right now I'm using the web version. You are more than welcome to download the mobile version on your phone or your iPad. They work just the same way. I actually utilized this app all throughout college and it helped me so much, especially when I was first learning the organelles. Let's go ahead and jump into the animal cell. Now let's find the nucleus of the animal cell. It's going to be this pink structure right here. For now, you guys will notice that there's three options, three different definitions for this organelle. We have the basic definition, the intermediate, and the advanced. Right now, guys, don't even look at intermediate or advanced. I'll give you an example why. But for this animal cell right here, it says a nucleus is what holds genetic information, also known as DNA, for the organism. If I click on the intermediate definition, it's going to say that the nucleus is a double membrane bound organelle that acts as a central storage unit for genomic DNA. The DNA shown inside the nucleus has been tightly wound around proteins. Those proteins are called nucleosomes to condense its overall size. I do not want you guys to worry about any of this, what was just said, because I guarantee as of right now it's probably confusing, right? It's because you guys haven't even learned what genomic DNA is, or proteins that are used to condense the overall size of DNA. So again, for now, please stick to the basic definition. When you guys are using this app, I really want you to be able to compare all the structures you see in an animal cell versus, let's say, a bacterial cell. Now remember, we defined a eukaryotic organism as something that has a nucleus. Therefore, bacterial cells are prokaryotic cells, organisms that don't have a nucleus. Go ahead and click on the structures in here. That's a plasmid, cellular membrane. Click on this large pink structure. That's our DNA. Notice how the DNA actually isn't in anything. It's just kind of there. That's because bacterial cells don't have a nucleus. Again, that's the definition of a prokaryote, so that makes sense. Notice this structure bound to the bacterial cell itself. It's the flagella. The flagella, think of it as a propeller. It is used to move bacterial cells. Our bacterial cells are prokaryotic organisms. Prokaryotic organisms, they don't have a nucleus, and they are generally not multicellular organisms. They can be unicellular. Because of that, they need something to help them move. For an example, right here, a flagella. Let's look at some plant cells. Now this one looks pretty dense in comparison to other ones. These observations I'm making, how dense something is, how little of organelles there are in things, you guys note down these similarities or differences. You need to compare and contrast these different organelles. Let's click on this little green structure. This is a chloroplast. Chloroplast is what creates food for the plant cell through a process called photosynthesis. We'll talk about that later in the semester. I want you guys to see if there's a chloroplast in our bacterial cells or in animal cells. Same goes for peroxisomes. Are there peroxisomes in plants, animals, and bacterial cells? Compare and contrast all of these one by one. Also, guys, be sure to reference the worksheet that is in the blog posting. Not all organelles that are in plants, animals, and bacterial cells are going to be on it, but it'll give you some good hints on one, how to memorize them, and will aid you in making a table for definitions of each of these organelles. Now, guys, if you have any questions, please be sure to hit me up on the blog or message me via an email. I'll answer whatever questions you have, but I mean, this website is very, very, very simple, easy to use. Please become familiar with it, okay?